Scott Hilton, Scott Talks. Thought I would stop my bike ride. Just went to the grocery store, got my panniers on. Yeah, you talk about Apple Watch Series 11. You got all the different little models, different ones that you got, affordable, an SE, cheaper, but it is not as bright. It doesn't give you quite the punch that the others do, and it scratches easier, but that's okay. And it's what you afford, you get it. It's got a lot of the same features, doesn't matter. You've got the other two models that are smaller and bigger. I got the bigger one for the S9, and I love it. It's still working fine. It doesn't need any bells and whistles added to it. Even though they have the hypertension thing now on the new 11s, I've got hypertension, and it's like the doctor tells me. That's how I know, So, and they check me and give me medication, and now I'm doing fine. So, that's the deal. If you want to see if you got high blood pressure, check it I was just at Walmart Marketplace. They got a high blood pressure. They got a little blood pressure machine. You sit down, the thing blows up, and you check it, and you look at the numbers, and you go, I probably should see the doctor. That's the way it is. But you got better glass on the Ultra. The Ultra's got the cellular connectivity. It's got brighter. I think it's 2,000 or 3,000 nits of brightness. So out in the sun, you can really see it. It's kind of, it's great. It even has a little alarm on it. So if you're out stranded somewhere, it can give you a little ding, ding, ding. And with cellular, you could probably get someone on the phone maybe. If not, you can ring your little alarm. I can't remember if it has satellite though. It probably does with the cell connection. The phones do. If you have your phone with you, you could use the satellite feature on that and send out an emergency alert. But you got better glass. The sapphire glass is on the Ultra. So as the models progress, you get little tweaks. Apple always gives you tweaks, and more money. Be careful if you have a small wrist. A lot of ladies, definitely kids, put the watch on in a store. Go to your phone store and put an Ultra on will it go on? Will it close? Will the band work? Don't think you can get a third-party band or a smaller band somewhere magically. No. If it's extending on both sides of your wrist, it's beyond your wrist, you're not getting the Ultra, okay? Just give it up. Let it go. Get the bigger watch. If you want a little bit better battery life, just get the bigger version of the watch, That's all you got to do. So, and if that's too big, get the smaller version of the watch, all right? And get a few bands. I love the velcro. Eat, drink, and sleep for the velcro. It's easy to clean. It goes on and off real fast. You can adjust it. You can pull it a little tighter, a little looser. You don't have holes to deal with that are just right. That's too loose. Next hole, that's too tight. I don't like it. You don't have that stretchy armband thing that gets a little too stretchy at times, and then it starts getting to the point where it doesn't want to fit, or it's too tight. It's never. You don't want to deal with the fact it might not be perfect, or it might get overstretched over time. And this washes real good. You just give it a little scrubby dubby and wash it and air dry it, and you're good. And it's great. It does. This is my watch face for my riding the bike. There it is, 9:51. This is my everyday watch face. Completely different controls, different gadgets. But it's got, the corners have the stuff in the middle for 4 things in the middle. I've got 8 things on this thing besides the time. 8 different bells and whistles with a timer, a heart rate monitor, the time of the sunset and sunrise, the battery percentage on the watch. It's 82% right now. It's the date, October 5th, 2025. Says it'll rain in 5 hours. And I am pointing, the compass says I'm pointing east. No, this is east. That's north. Okay. So the arrow says that way is north. So the little arrow points so I can kind of figure out which way I'm going on the bike if I want to look at that, or pull the phone out, or pull the actual compass out and see what that is. You see, you can touch one of these things. You can see the temperature, 76, 72 low, 84 high. You got all these great bells and whistles. And then you go back. I got my Spotify on this one. I got the temperature. I got when is it going to rain. I got the exercise thing you can kick in for cycling or walking. You know, just whatever you want to do. Heart rate monitor, tell me what my heart rate's topped out at, the date and the time. Yeah, you got everything. And, you know, otherwise just get a Timex. You know, if you're not going to be big on that, Timex, get that indigo, push the button and the indigo light goes off. They last forever. Get a little battery version, just goes and goes and goes. All you need is a new battery later on in life. You get a Rolex for $100,000 or whatever it is, and you're going to be taking it back to the watchmaker every few, you know, once a year or whenever they have to do maintenance on those stupid things, because they're like Porsches, man. They have to be tuned up. They got to have it just a precise little adjustments. It costs hundreds of dollars. Oh, we got to fix this. We got to change this. You know, it's expensive to keep one of those running. And if you compare the time, Timex keeps better time. You know, you can't beat that. And this is digital, so it keeps time based on a cell tower somewhere. So it gives you a super accurate time. So, you know, a cheap Timex, you spend 50, 60 bucks with the indigo, and you take, I have two when I travel. I carry two with me, two Timexes, because if you're on something like a cruise or another country or something, you're going to put airplane mode on. You're not going to have cell service because that would cost big bucks unless you got your SIM card set up for that area you're in. And if you're cruising, you're bouncing from place to place to place, and you're going to be in the middle of the ocean, and that's not going to cut it. And the Wi-Fi signal is notoriously bad on ships, even when you pay for it. So it's like download some movies and some several audio books, and you know, just download stuff and enjoy that on the cruise if you have to. And you're not allowed to bring a Bluetooth speaker unless you keep it in your room and you keep it quiet. You can't be walking around the pool deck with it, all right? But I just wear my Timex on the port days. And I can't wait to go to Puerto Rico because I'm going to fire it up and see. That's what I was going to ask Verizon if Puerto Rico would. I was right near Verizon. I said, there's something I want to ask them. Puerto Rico, will I get a signal, and will it cost me? Yeah, so I'm going to do that. But yeah, otherwise I just wear the Timex and set it to the ship's time. Don't screw around and say, well, it was 5 o'clock last night, keeping good time. Let's get off the ship. And we had to be back on by 2 or they're going to leave us. And you look at the time and you're in another time zone and you get left. So you got to make sure you got the right time when you're getting off. Check the ship, check with other crew, you know, well, check the ship as you're leaving. You know, what's the time here? And check the TV that tells you the time. It tells you the time changes and the times you have to be back. And be back an hour early because they will leave. There's tons of good videos on YouTube. Not pool runners, deck runners. They're running to the ships, wanting the ship to wait. Ships don't wait. You know, ships, they wait until it's time to go and they go. If you're dumb enough to screw up, that's your problem. The only thing they'll wait for is a cruise-sponsored excursion. If they sponsored it and you paid the cruise ship to go on a cruise-sponsored excursion, they will probably wait and send people out to look for you. And that, yes, unless you wandered off somewhere in the woods or something. But if you went on some third-party excursion, they're not waiting for that. And it's up to you. You go get an airplane ride, you know. Go, you know, find your way to the next port if you can. Take a ship or an airplane or something to the next port, or just go home and wait for the ship to come in, and they'll get that luggage to you in a couple of weeks. They lost our luggage on a cruise once. You had it from an airplane to the cruise ship, one of those deals. We just carry it on now, you know, crazy. But yeah, we were stopping at Puerto Rico, and I was like, hey, that's a U.S. territory. That'll be interesting. I can take my Apple Watch and actually put it on and get some use out of it. So like, share, and subscribe, and come back again and it gets you a watch. My watch is fine. I love it. I highly recommend it. It does so many different things for you. Oh my gosh, there's so many different things you can do. I rely on it every day. I'm always poking at it when I'm riding the bike. I'm always checking alarms. Oh, I got an alarm. I just cut that off. There you go. Take your medicine. Oh, I did. Put log is taken. Yes, under a health app. Yep, did it. Okay. And boom, I'm gone. I can keep going. You know, it's great to have. My wife says set a timer to Alexi. I'm setting a timer on the watch just to back up. I got an electric lawnmower. I set a timer on the Alexi thing, and I set it on my watch to make sure I'm around for 45 minutes while that battery, or an hour, however long it takes that battery to charge back up if it's drained pretty well. Got an Ego lawnmower. They're great, love it. You don't have to pull that stupid handle on the gas, like the gas one. All that crap. Yeah, you just push a button, pull a little lever, and it goes, and fires right up. So they're cool. And, but yeah, the watches, definitely recommend them. You know, you need to budget and you gotta get the SE version. Get the SE version for your first watch. It's okay. It's fine. It's like a cruise ship. Take a cheap cruise. You're still going somewhere. You're still going to the same place, the big ships. You're still looking at the big ships like, oh, give me a picture with this big ship. You know, you're still there. It doesn't matter when you're in a little ship. But it is a little disappointing to be on a big ship and then the next cruise go on a little ship and then you're like, it's different. You know, things aren't as big. There's not as much to do. But we've chilled out over the years. The little ships don't bother us like it used to. That one time it was just like, well, I like the other ship better. You know, so start small if you do any cruising. That's all I say. And just small and cheap is fine. We always like the balcony cabin, but if you can't get a balcony cabin, that's fine. Start inside, man. Start anyway. Get a cheap cruise. One way to, if you're near a cruise port, a cheap way is to check the apps and see if anyone's got a cruise leaving in a day or weekend or two. And you got some days off you can take. Say, hey, can I get some days off? I get this cruise, really? They say, yeah. Book that cruise. Get a deal on it. They'll probably, if they have a couple rooms left, get a deal. That's the way to do it. But you can take your Apple Watch if you want to, because when you're getting on the ship, you know, you can use it until you start leaving. Once you start pulling away, put it into airplane mode, because you don't want any signal. You know, roaming charges that are charged hundreds of dollars to you, and you say, I forgot. Yeah, you forgot. And if you have a cellular watch, you got to turn that one off too. So, a roaming charge, unless you've talked to your provider at Verizon or T-Mobile or whoever, and said, hey, what's the deal? Can I get an eSIM? What if I'm out in the middle of the ocean? And then don't trust them to be right. I mean, just the logic of being out in the middle of the ocean, you can't have a signal. Just turn it off. Enjoy the ship. They have music, dining, stuff to do all the time. You know, enjoy the cruise and turn electronics mostly off. You know, I took an audiobook and finished it. I think it was called Extinction. And I heard there's a sequel coming out, but it'll be out after I've been on the cruise. And I was like, oh, I could have listened to the same book, the sequel. I was like, oh, it's so close to a couple months apart. So, yeah, like, share, and subscribe if you learned anything. But look at the differences. You can compare the prices. You know, if you've never had one before, then the cheap one's great. You know, if you can't afford the bigger one, get the smaller one. Nobody needs an Ultra unless you're out in the wild. You know, or you think it's cool and you got the money, you know, and the cell charges. You got to charge, there's another cell charge, you know, and you got to deal with that. And then who's going to have the number? You know, you're going to be calling people and they're going to like, oh, somebody called me. I didn't know that number, so I just hung up on them. I didn't answer. You know, you got to deal with that. But more scratch resistance as they get better, more up in price. Apple always gives you a little bit more, And sometimes they have little things like, I remember their iPods used to have different versions of iPods that would do different things. So you buy all the iPods just to have those cool features. Oh, that was back in the day. I was like, oh, wow. They had the little iPod shuffle, remember that? And you push a button, it would shuffle, and you download the songs on this little thing. And, you know, the different versions would have different things, and you could get more storage over time. And that was cool. I think it was only $100 back then. Now you get a phone with extra storage. What is it, 150, 200 extra? And I always get extra storage because I don't like to run it out. My wife had a Samsung, and it was running out. And I was like, oh, you got to get a new phone. It's time. You qualify according to Verizon, and you need to get some storage. And luckily, the new phones came with double the storage starting out than she had before. So I was like, fine, you know, that'll do, because you don't do too much. But you got more grandkid videos coming in. You're going to save those, right? I mean, some of them could go to the cloud, that's fine, but if you want to show somebody and get it, that's the thing. So, and your cloud storage should work with your watch settings and different things. There's an app on the iPhone, little black thing, has a little white watch shape or something like that. And that's how you pick your apps and you load them and you change your screens. And when you charge it, it has to be on the charger when you do your updates. So if you got an update on the phone, you should have an update on the watch coming. So put it on the charger and say, yes, update my watch. It'll probably do it automatically eventually, but just that's how you do it. You do have to have it on the charger to do it, and it has to have a bit of a charge to. It can't be dead, you know. So enjoy your Apple Watch. It's the number one watch in the world. Just killed the competition. So I would have Timex or Apple Watch and call it a day, unless you have some kind of nice dressy watch that you wear to a really formal event. But now you just change the watch band on your Apple Watch and it's dressy. So there you go. So like, share, and subscribe again. Have a great day. I'm going to get back to my ride and go to Verizon. Talk about Puerto Rico. Bye.